Today's on is going to be very exciting. And as I listen to some of you expressing your expectations, I realize that you're already keyed into the whole excitement we're going to have today. And we pray that your expectations will always or will duly be met. So we want to formally begin the program today. It's the Academic Life Seminar. That's the first part. It's a psychoeducation that we put out every year to help students integrate themselves properly into the academic life. And this time around, it is open to all of us instead of freshmen. And so we'll begin on time as we gradually see the room being filled with an opening prayer. And I will call on Ms. Hackman to give us the opening prayer for today.
Let's give it to her. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Langu and Mrs. Piasa. I will crave your indulgence to please be on your feet as we pray and then start the program. Shall we please close our eyes? Our Heavenly Father, we are grateful unto you for another year. We thank you so much for this opportunity to be empowered this afternoon to go out there to impact our peers, our friends, our loved ones, and our university community as a whole. We pray committing those who will be taking us through the program, one after the other, that whatever they have in them, today by your mercies and your grace, they will be able to deliver, and then we do the needful when we go out there. We pray for traveling mercies for those who are on their way coming, that God, at the end of everything, will say thank you for the grace, thank you for the wisdom, thank you for the knowledge, and thank you for the strength to be here today. Thus and other prayers do we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Auntie Joanna Jocelyn Hackman. My name is Bernice Ofosuhini Piasa. I'm a counseling psychologist at the Counseling Center, and I'm co-emceeing with
Mr. Gilbert Kongwe Langu, counseling psychologist at the College of Art and Multi-Environment and KNUST Counseling Center.
Okay, so I'm also the college counselor for College of Science, to add to that. So you are welcome today one more time, and we will not waste time at all because the program is in 2 segments and we don't want to eat into the other part. So I would want to the rest of the staff here to do self-introduction, and they will zoom in to invite our director to give us the welcome address. So can I have the KCC staff upstage, please?
Okay.
KCC staff upstage.
Yes, yeah. The first KCC, Dr. Anochua, where is he?
Please, self-introduction from the head.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm Joanna Jocelyn Hackman, counselor for College of Health Sciences.
I'm Rabbi Darko. I'm KCC and the counselor for College of Humanities and Social Sciences. Thank you.
Joseph Asamoah, KCC counselor for IDL.
Elizabeth Anochua Safofojo, the counselor for College of Engineering, KCC.
Hi, I'm John Soriba, KCC.
June. Okay.
So I'll add something to June's intro. She also supports with health issues, so she does a lot of work at the hospital. Yes. I am Mrs. Victoria de Graaf Teje. I'm the chief servant of the KNUST Counseling Center. Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. You can have your seat.
There are very important dignitaries here, but my head will do the introduction when the time is due. So I will please welcome our Director of Student Affairs, Professor Wilson Ejare, to give us the welcome address to begin this program. Let's please receive him.
Let's give it to him.
The clap of him.
We can do better than this. Very well, very well. Prof, you are welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I was hoping that this room would have been filled to the brim, because what we have ahead is very crucial for you as students. But we hope that we'll have some additional students joining us. And if not, maybe what we are going to hear could be recorded and also maybe shared online with students. Because I know that a lot of the students face a lot of challenges. But before I go on, first let me recognize the presence of the Deputy Director, Student Affairs, in the person of Professor Marianne Nkansa. So much appreciated. When you come to the office, she is in charge of student housing and welfare. And for you to have a peace of mind, you need a place to sleep. So, Prof, you are most welcome. I also recognize the counseling, the head, and the team for the wonderful work you've been doing. Without you, a lot of my sons and daughters would have been facing serious challenges. And also, forgive me, at times I do have to call you in the middle of the night during the weekends, but when somebody has challenge, we have to step up. So thank you so much for what you've been doing for us. Let me also recognize my sons and daughters who have taken time off their academic work to join us for this special occasion. You are most welcome. And I believe that what you are going to hear, what you are going to learn will be of great benefit to you. And especially for the Johnson & Johnson team who are now partnering KNUST to make sure that something special happens. I know that you are putting up something called Resilience Minds. And from today, we are all going to learn how it works and how it moves forward. On this note, I wouldn't want to belabor so much, but you are all welcome. Please, let's pay attention to what is going to happen, knowing very well that we are going to talk about how you can make a grade A. You can make a grade A or you can make a grade D. And in some cases, you can also make a grade F. And it all depends on how you are able to manage yourself. And that's not alone. As a human, you also want to support your colleagues. When somebody is facing challenges, how best can you help? It's also important because you have to be there for one another. On this note, without wasting further time, I welcome you all to this special program, and I know that at the end, we will all be beneficiaries. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you for coming. Once you are here, we know that we have a very solid backing, and we are grateful to you. Prof. Enin is here. Prof. Enin, one of our deputy directors for discipline and conduct. Prof. Thank you so much.
Let's give it to him.
Yeah, we also want to acknowledge the presence of our partners, Johnson & Johnson partners. We have Mr. Emmanuel Asantentri, Commercial Lead, Johnson & Johnson Ghana.
Let's give it to him.
And then we have Madam Linda Arthur, Global Implementation Leader, Global Health Equity Organization of Johnson & Johnson. Madam, you're welcome. Responsible for mental health. We are glad to have all of you. I see Ms. Ekuya Efiye Ade. She's also one of our staff. She just walked in. Auntie Efiye, you're welcome. All right, to go ahead, let's please welcome the head of Counseling Center, Mrs. Victoria DeGrafte J, to give us the purpose of our gathering. Please, a clap as we welcome her.
Yeah.
You're welcome, madam.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm always excited when we have this program every year. Year in, year out, we come together, support our students to support themselves and others as well. And this year, we are collaborating with the Johnson & Johnson, as you can see, to also launch the Resilient Minds. And this makes it more exciting. As students, we have a lot of challenges. We always talk about VUCA, the times that are uncertain, volatile, and sometimes it becomes very traumatic for some of us to even support ourselves and help others. And so when we come together like this, we take advantage of supporting you as students and also helping you put together yourself and equip yourself with skills to support yourself and to help others. So in order not to take much time, all I'm saying is that you are welcome to this year's psychoeducation for students at KNUST and to also be part of the Resilient Minds launching of such a project. And I know that what you learn here will go a long way to support ourselves and support our very own. So thank you for coming. I hope that, as the Director of Student Affairs said, very soon I see people coming in, and so we are going to have a lot of you coming around. At this point, I would say that for the next 2 minutes, if you can get in touch with a friend, kindly prompt that person on your phone. You can send a WhatsApp. Maybe the person thinks that I'm waiting, I'll come later. They said 2:33, so I'll come at 4. By the time they come, we might have gone far into the program. So please take advantage and just say a word or two to a colleague to come around. Thank you so much for coming and enjoy the session and the program. Thank you.
Thank you. Our head. As she said, let's give it to her once more. Okay, so we are now going straight to the presentation. And the first topic is becoming a grade A student. Becoming a grade A student. And you know, once you are a student, this is always what we want to achieve. So to do this is, we have a very important personality among us who has prepared very well for the past days to help us to achieve this dream. It's in the person of Mr. Rabbi Darko, the counselor for College of Humanities and Social Sciences. As he comes, let's welcome him with a round of applause. Mr. Rabbi, and he's my General Secretary. Thank you.
Chairman, thank you very much. It's an opportunity to be introduced by your own chairman. I'm grateful. And good afternoon to you all. I will stand on the existing protocol. I salute you all. Our first presentation will look at becoming a grade A student. Please, let's move on. I have about less than 20 minutes, please. And what we intend doing here is that we don't want you to necessarily become a first-class student. Yes, if you become a first-class student, we are all happy or we'll be excited about you, but just want you to up your game. Get time for your books. So what we are trying to say, before this, I would want you to indicate that everybody here is qualified to be a university student. irrespective of the school you are from, you can be the best student you really want to become. I always tell students that to me, I think university education is not all that difficult as this diagram shows. You see, university education will tell that you have to do a lot of work, and senior high school and JS a little work. But to me, I think it's otherwise. The only problem with university education is that we have enormous or wide freedom. And our academic performance is being affected or competed with a lot of variables as compared to that of junior high school. With junior high school, you realize that you are being controlled. You are under control. People control, teachers control. But here, nobody controls you. And that is one of the greatest impediments when it comes to university education. And this shows you that you have to do a lot of education. You have to do a lot of work on yourself in order to pass the university education. Please, let's move on. One of the things you also have to do is set goals. Consciously, you have to purposely decide to set goals for yourself. For instance, you can decide that every semester I'll get at least 4 or 5 A's. I remember when I did my first degree in Legon, the first person, TA, who came to talk to us, gave this advice that at least if you get 3 A's in every semester, you are likely to become a first-class student. And that thing stuck. I don't know whether the guy was giving a prophecy or what. In fact, I realized that until level 300, every semester I was getting 3 A's, and it wasn't enough for me to get a first class. In fact, I wasn't a first-class student, though. So at least try as much as possible to get at least 4 or 5 A's every semester, and that can push you to become at least a second-class upper student, which is not bad. So learn to plan. You can have short-term plan. Please, let's move short-term plan, long-term plan, a whole semester. What am I getting? A whole year? What am I getting? Just get planned and work towards that. And one of the things you must also understand is that from where you are today and where you want to become lies a very big lacuna or gap, as people call it, gap. And you have to work towards that in order to get there. So if you have a goal, it helps you to be so directional as to where you are going. Because a lot of things will come to frustrate your focus. But if you have a goal and you are so resilient, you'll be able to get there. Please, let's move on. Look at this. I like this diagram a lot. Mostly this is how our brain works. We have 3 types of brain memory. We have the sensory, the short-term memory, as others call it, the executive memory, and that of the long-term memory. When you look at the diagram very well, for example, what we are doing here, we are receiving information. All these information are getting into our sensory memory. And if we don't pay premium or attention to that, we forget. So if you are able to solicit the best ones and pay attention to it, it moves to your short-term memory. Then when information gets your short-term memory and you do a lot of rehearsals, you rehearse. The science will tell you that when you practice a lot, or automaticity setting, when you practice, you do constant practice. So when you keep on learning, information moves from the executive memory to that of the long-term memory. And that is where retrieval becomes so easy. All what we are trying to say is that pay attention to sensitive information when you get to the lecture hall whilst you are in school, in terms of your education or studies. And when you do that, you do a lot of rehearsals. And doing the rehearsals has to do with when you are doing what? Studying. Keep on studying. But the more you study, the more you become automatic in the area of your study. Please, let's move on. So, please, let's move. So, we are saying that attention and concentration is so key in university education. So key. And one of the things you should know that the earlier thing and the later part of the information you learn really sticks. So that is why every day you have to go to the lecture hall early. So that because research will tell you the early freshborn or the early lecture, the things that are being taught at the early aspect of the lecture helps you or is able to get stuck in your brain as compared to, let's say, maybe in the middle, because in the middle, tiredness can set in. Now, let's get some study strategies. Please, we are saying try as much as possible to take good notes. Yes, there are some of you, they will go to lecture, they think that they have photocopy memory. They're able to grasp everything the lecture tells them, and they hardly send books to the lecture. Please, let's desist from that and try as much as possible to get proper note-taking. And let's listen. There are a lot of variables that may frustrate us or take our attention whilst in the lecture hall. But when you want to be a very good student, you want to become a student you really want to become, please practice active learning and learn to listen when your lecturers are talking. Please, let's move on. We will not be able to give you most of the information. That is why we've announced our prayers that you can come to us, come to our offices, and we can give you more information on that. One of the things to help you study is to learn to teach yourself, self-talk. How to explain concept to yourself is very, very important. You should be able to know how to talk to yourself. Do your own set your own questions and answer. It really helps. And sometimes when you teach, when you see, when you hear, it sticks. So learn to be the teacher in your group studies. It helps you a lot. So when you go for group meetings, sometimes it can be so devastating. I remember those days you go for a group meeting, well prepared, you come back and you are crying. Because somebody will rattle what you think you are struggling to know. Somebody will just rattle and just speak like an oratory on that. And if you don't take care, that thing can be intimidating. But you need not to worry. It helps. Because the more your colleagues, your peers are sharing ideas, the more it gets stuck in your brain. It really helps. And you can take breaks. Very important. Some people use the 50-10-50. You can use the 60 at your level. You can go the 60-10 formation. After every 1 hour, take a break. It really helps. It helps your brain to relax. Then you come back again. And learn to study every day. Every day. Try as much as possible to go through your books. It really helps. At this stage, you should know this. Where the area to study. You need not to study at a noisy environment. Yes, there are some students that will tell you whilst they are listening to reggae, they are able to absorb. Yes, individual difference. But if you know you are not that type, please don't just follow blindly. Good. Please, let's move on and try to be alert when you understand. We call this red flag. This red flag, or it's a theory called the popcorn brain. Popcorn brain. It was coined by a researcher called David Levy in 2011. What he said was that he said when there is an influx of excessive digital stimulation, what it does is that it reduces your attention span. For example, it happens to us a lot. You are studying your slides on your laptop. At the same time, you are surfing the internet, surfing Facebook, streaking on Instagram, doing a lot of things at the same time. Your phone will beep, notification. You want to go and see what is happening. So at one point in time, you realize that you are doing 2 or 3 things at the same time. According to David Levy, he says when you do this thing, it shortens your memory. It affects what we call focus attention disorder. It's called popcorn brain. And it affects a lot of students. And he says when they grow, they are unable to stay on one job. In fact, it will surprise you, they can't stay on one lady. And all these things start from here. So, for instance, if you're a student and you are studying, just be focused. Just be focused. Try to mute all notification. Facebook and all those stuff can be muted. Because at the end of the day, your parent will not ask you, yeah, man, sir, how many husbands did you get when you came to school? How many boyfriends, how many girlfriends did you get when you came to school? What everybody would want to know is your class. Therefore, you have to at least send a good class. You came to KN Westin. Everybody is expecting you to do the best. So now let's look at test-taking skills. We are saying prepare ahead of time. Very important. Because if you don't prepare ahead of time, you'll be doing what we call crumbling. You'll be putting a lot of things at the same time, and you want to put everything on your brain. And if you do that, you can break down. Please, let's take note of that. And know the schedule. Just last 2 weeks or so, I dealt with a student. When you were writing your midterm, she went to the first year, went to a different classroom to write a different exams. And she didn't know. So please, let us be consistent on our classroom platform to know when and where we are having our tests. So important. Take all materials. So important. And please, eat well. Please, eat well. It really helps you to get a good memory. Yeah, when you are doing examination, these are things they taught us when we were in secondary school. Read the directions. Very instructions. So important, please. And always we advise students that you have to read through your test. Sometimes you can read through the first one, you wouldn't get anything. It happens. Calm down. Go through again. Read over again. And the understanding will come. Start with the easiest question. Yes, it doesn't necessarily make sense. It is chronologically stated 1, 2, 3. You have to start from 1. No. If you realize that question 5 will give you you have a lot of answers to question 5, please start that one first. Because it boosts your confidence in doing the rest of the question. Please, let's move on. This affects everybody. Everybody has gone through this before, even the most intelligent student. When exams is approaching, I don't know about you. Let me see those of you when you're about writing exams, you feel that there's nothing in your mind. Yeah, I had that experience. You feel that like you've not learned anything. It's like something, you are vague. It happens. It's anxiety. And if you don't take care and this thing overwhelms you, you will not be able to. I remember when I was writing my last paper, Comparative Psychology, Legon. About first 15 minutes, I was unable to write. And in fact, when you see the countenance of people, your colleagues, the way people were seriously writing, Master, I got scared. So the only thing I did was that I had to put my head on the table. I slept for about 15 minutes and I woke up. And I don't know what came over me. I was able to write and I had my B+. So these things can happen to everybody. The tension, the memory lapses. Sometimes you go blank, brain blank. It's as if everything is gone. Because at the time you are so anxious. In that situation, what are you supposed to do? Please, let's move on. What you're supposed to do is that, one, to prevent that, let me put it that way. To prevent that, try to prepare ahead of time. If you study, the confidence will come. And when you are so much confident, anxiety will never set in. So confidence subdue anxiety. Do not dwell on previous tests. Sometimes it can affect you. The previous test I did well, so I'm so confident that this one I'm going to do well. No, please. Take every test as it is. One after the other, and it can really help you. Now, exercising has been shown to increase memory or retentive memory. So please, let's do a lot of exercise. It helps. Get good night sleep. Good sleep also helps. Sometimes we make our brain so alert that we are unable to relax it. And in that situation, in exams, you can break down. So please, sometimes you have to relax your brain through sleeping. And sometimes you do breathing box. That's what I did. You calm yourself down and do what you call positive self-talking. Talk to yourself. I can do this thing, Ima. I can do Yamas. I can do this. This is my paper. I can do it. I have learned this. Just talk to yourself. And I tell you, the confidence will just come. Just concentrate on your own. Do not look at others' facial expression or those who are taking extra sheet. This thing is quite intimidating. You are not getting the answer, but Kojo is taking 3 or 4 extra sheets. And sometimes if you look at that, it will frustrate you. It will cause you to forget everything. So please just concentrate on your paper. It really helps. And focus on the question at hand at the same time. Do not let your brain wander on a lot of things. Just concentrate on the paper you are doing, and that alone can help you to pass. Now, time management is also important. It's when you effectively use time so that you can make the most out of it. Let's move on, please. Everybody here, all of us, we have 24 hours. Everybody. Therefore, we have to consciously, we are saying time management is a skill. You have to consciously practice that. Tell yourself, I'm going to be conscious about this. I'm going to do a to-do list. Every Saturday, this is what I'm doing. Monday to Friday, just get a timetable and make sure you do that. Don't forget, I told you, constant practice leads to what we call automaticity. When you keep on practicing something, it becomes your lifestyle, part and parcel of you. If you don't do it, it won't even be okay. So if you start learning now, it will become part and parcel of you, and it will help you. So please, let's make good use of the time we have here, because initially, I did say in my preamble, we have wide independence. Our independence is so wide. No one controls you. Therefore, you have to consciously do something to help you, beat time. Please, let's move on. Plan in advance. So necessary, so important. Just do the to-do list. I've said this. Please, let's move on. Let's move. Follow your plan. Consciously follow it, and it will help you, please. And avoid procrastination. It happens to us a lot as students. I'm tired today. It appears that I have what we call body myopathy. You feel that every part of your body is tired. Your brain is tired, and you sometimes for the past 3 days you've not been able to study. Please just put yourself together and try to avoid procrastination, because it eats into our time and our studies a lot. Determine who you are, so important. If your friend is studying at dawn, it doesn't necessarily mean you also study at dawn. Maybe it doesn't help you. However, if you think studying at dawn will help you, please do that. Whilst you are here, a lot of people are looking up onto you. For your information, your parents are parading outside your churches and where your friends are telling others, Yamansa is in KN West, Kojo is in KN West. So everybody is expecting something good from you. Therefore, let's live up to that expectation. By studying, at least let's send a good classroom, and it really helps. So know whether if you are all, just know that I'm a night person who study. I study at night. And if that works for you, brother, sister, stick to that. If you are in the afternoon too, please, it's also not bad. Just do that and it will help you. Please, let's move on. I'll finish very soon. And please, don't be so hard on yourself. Some of us, there are times we are so difficult on ourselves. Yes, you are, in as much as you are trying to get a better degree, there are times try to create room for some allowance. Yes, to-do list. But there are some courses in the beginning of the semester, they will seem friendly. But in the middle, you realize that they are not friendly at all. It's quite difficult. In that case, you need to adjust. For instance, maybe before the semester, you adjusted 1 hour for that program, that course to study. And you're realizing that in the middle, it's so difficult. You can just push it to 1 hour, 30 minutes, or 2 hours. It's not bad at all. Don't just tell yourself that rabbi, or when you came for the education, you say we should do to-do list or timetable. And that, for that matter, I'm supposed to follow it. Black and white. No, if there is a need for you to do adjustment, please just do that and it can really help you. Please, I'm ending. Create good study habit. Yes. Please add a slide. In this case, we are trying to study at the time so that it becomes a habit. Plan for every review. Instead that keep your study area just for studying. It helps. You see, when you do a particular thing for long, your brain is able to understand. So, for instance, if you study every afternoon or every dawn at 4 a.m., your body will wake you up, your brain will wake you up. That is why we want you to stick to a particular time, and that can really help you. Don't forget, study every day. Every day, and I tell you, you will be able to pass your exam. Avoid idleness. Every day you are alone. And learn to set priorities. Priorities so important. Know which one, the things that I'm supposed to. Don't forget, we have a lot of independence, wide freedom. And if you are unable to set your priority right, you realize that you'll be carried away by any weird thing. Things that are unnecessary on campus. And you know that there are a lot of things going on campus that are really not in line with your studies. And if you don't take care, those things can overwhelm you. Oversleeping. And I don't know whether you felt that before. Me, when I was in school, I felt that there are times a whole week you don't feel like studying. It happens. But try as much as possible to just come out from that slumberness, out of that, let me put in laziness, and at least do something. It really helps. Don't forget, you are here to achieve a degree. Misuse of leisure time, you have to be very careful about that. Please, let's move on. This is my last two. We are saying that if you cannot do great things, at least do small things in a great way. So that 1 hour, 30 minutes you get for study, please just apportion time for that. In the KNUST Council Center, we are always there to assist them. Yeah, get some students say, I'm studying and I'm not getting it. Just come to us. We'll be able to give you some strategies to help you, focus. Please, let's move on. My last one. Yes, we are saying that your parents are looking up onto you. The community, everybody is looking up onto you. Your lecturers are looking up onto you to make them proud. Please go make us proud. So far as you are here, brothers and sisters, you can do something for yourself. You can do something for yourself. So go make all of us proud. You know yourself. You know yourself very well than every other person. So just do what suits you. We wish you all the best. And thank you for your audience.
Thank you, Mr. Rabbi.
A better round of applause for that passionate rendition. All right. We will take questions at the end of the second presentation. So you can write down your questions, and when it's time, we would deal with them. So we go straight into the second one. We have Ms. Ekuye Ade, a clinical counseling psychologist in our midst, to take us through how to identify distressing peers and how to manage them. And to be interested in that, how to identify first yourself as a distressed student, and then your peers as well, and the management that needs to be done. So let's welcome to the podium Ms. Ekuye Ade.
She's a clinical psychologist at the Counseling Center and the counselor for College of Agric and Natural Resources. So good to have you.
Hello. I was hoping the room will be full. Usually the room gets full when we do this seminar. Yes, so we are looking at helping one another as students, and what are some of the psychological, what indicators you can see, so that you can help your friend, your family members, and yourself, right? Yes, so this is the crust of my presentation, okay? So how many R's do we have? How many R's are there? So just like we have the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, and recycle. This one, what is the first R? So let's write it down. Recognize, respond, and refer. That is what we are going to do today. You see something, you respond to it, and when it's beyond you, you refer. Right. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so I heard Mr. Rabbi saying that you would have to eat well to write exam. If you know the number of students who have trooped to my office today who says that they have not eaten, but we know that a lot of us students are going through what some of us call stress, and stress is usually a normal part of our lives. It's okay. If you look at the dial there, you see it start from green to what? Red. You see the picture on your left, the top one. Yeah, so every day stuff happen, maybe you may be broke a little bit, but we are all able to manage them. But when it overwhelms us and we can't deal with it, that is when the problem starts. And sometimes even some form of stress is good for us. Like Mr. Rabbi said, you know that you have not learned the thing. So once it kicks in, it pushes you to learn. And that sort of stress, what you call eustress, that's not what we are talking about. We are talking about the one that overwhelms us as people. And that is what we are calling what? Distress. That's what we are calling distress. Now, as students, the first one, at least from the counseling center, that student will report his financial issue. How many of us are going through? And it's affecting our studies. Oh. Director, I won't bring you any names again. All the hands are down. So they are not going through any financial challenge. But we know how it's like. We haven't paid our fees, you can't get food to eat. How can you study? Yes. And family problems. Parents are fighting. And because of that, you, the student, it's affecting you. Just a moment. Thank you. Now, this morning, some of you, some students came, they have been withdrawn and they had to be reinstated. Some of us have academic problems. Accommodation, you all know, we will not belabor the point. You have problems with your boyfriend, girlfriends. Now, look at the sexuality. The bill has been passed. But if you do know what others are going through, we'll question that bill. There are lots of students who have these problems. You may not know them, but we have them. And because of that, not out of anything, not out of their own making, a lot of them don't even want it. And it's creating trauma for them. And because of that, they are really in distress. And addiction. Most of us are using drugs. We watch a lot we are addicted to pornography. The betting, please. Anybody, let's all close our eyes. If you haven't bet before, raise your hand. I have finished. But some people would like to use even drugs as a way of what? Coping. So remember our first, the 3 R's. The first one is what? Recognize. So this is what you are going to do. What should you look out for? The clues. What are the people saying to you? What are they putting online? How are they behaving? These are the things we need to look out for. So we are trying to learn how to recognize our friends who are in distress. Next slide, please. Now, when you are recognizing, see whether the thing that you are looking at, it poses security risks to the person. It's his academic, physical, or psychological. Okay? And when we come to security, you are in the room with the students. You are in the same lecture room with the person. What do you see? Inappropriate anger. So they are always angry, irritable, they are very aggressive. When was it? Somebody pulled a knife and the person was referred. That should tell you something is going on. Sometimes they are very, how do you call it? They can be very violent. Sometimes they have drugs they want to. They do so many things that, for example, indicates that they may want to end their lives. When they are speaking, do you observe or a sense of hopelessness in their speech? Do they tell you that life is not worth living? Things like that. Do you see themselves withdrawn? They've withdrawn from their friends. They harass and threaten others. If you see these symptoms, please note it. If you see that their moods are swinging, when we say mood swinging, you shift from one to the other. You are talking with this person, suddenly he's laughing, and later you realize that the person's mood has changed, he's angry, and all that. You see a change in the person's weight. They are losing weight. Last week, somebody brought a friend because he said, Madam, I'm bringing him because I spoke with him. He's not telling me, but he agreed to come. He has lost a lot of weight. And we found out that there are issues going on at home that are affecting him. So weight gain, weight loss, family issues. When sometimes these ones are very obvious. Sometimes when they talk, they don't make sense. They cry a lot. They tell you they are sad, they are anguished. They don't have the motivation to do anything. They can't concentrate. When you see that, your friends start talking that way, please know that there's something wrong. Now, the other group. Next slide, please. Yes, I've talked about suicide. So since our time has been reduced, please let's skip this one. Now, so the physical one, now, these ones, you can easily note them. The outward grooming, change in hairstyle. You know, sometimes a very quiet student, a young lady, then suddenly she changes the hair. Maybe wear this wig with colors suddenly. You know that this one, she's not that bad. Something is happening. Very colorful. Hygiene, body odors, you start smelling them, their hairs are unkept, it tells you something. They are oversleeping, they are not eating well, they've lost appetite. These are the things you should look at. Now, smells of alcohol and marijuana, I know you'll not come and say it. But at least if you know that your friend is going through that, let us know. And because we are seeing a lot of drug issues, we were asked to talk about that. Unfortunately, our time has been reduced, so I just say something briefly about that one. Next slide. Okay. Please, when it comes to academics, they are not going for lectures. They wake up, they are in their rooms. You know them. They tell you they can't do the assignment. Their CWAs are dropping. It means there's something wrong. You have to find a way to help them or refer them to us. Please, next slide. Now, watch this space. Just 3 days ago, I gave it to one of my kids. I told them my peace of mind, and then somebody drew my attention that the the person has written something on the social media status. Immediately, I had to call the person to resolve the issue. All of you, in you are social media generation. This is where you are active most. Check their statuses. Check what they are writing. What messages are there? If you see any indicators that you feel that this is not right, please, it is your duty as a friend, a colleague, to help out. If you can't help out, we are telling you what to do. Next one. Now, I am going to say something small about this one because of what has happened. If you are here, you are having issues with any form of addiction, the betting. Yesterday we were at Obuasi. Somebody was telling me that he has used the betting. Why should he stop betting? Because he made money and paid his fees. So why should I be telling him that he should what? Stop betting. Please, what we said, that is, those of you who bet, and if I am lying, let's bet, not the betting one, not the other one. Let's do the betting like this and calculate. Check how much you have put in and how much you have won. 99.99% of them, you've lost more than you've won, if you be sincere. Okay? But let me just say that betting and other forms of what we call behavioral addiction, like pornography and all that, they mess the brain up the same as drug does. I don't have time. I would have gone to you and showed you how the brain is when these things happen. But they have a way of altering the brain, just like somebody who is taking what? Drugs. Okay? So please, if you know somebody, maybe it's not you, kindly help the person to come to us, or there are peer counselors among you. They will help you. Right. Please move through the addictions because we can. Now, you stop here. They told me that this thing, they say is Tafribomsky. How many of you have seen it before? They were telling me all names. Yes, was it yesterday or 3 days ago? The things I learned about drugs in this, I was shocked. So the young ladies, I understand now what they keep them as balloons. Me, I didn't even know. They said the balloons, these balloons, they do all sort of things, the cakes. And somebody was asked, Madam, the authorities, the thing is right under their nose. They are not seeing. So I think that we'll have time to do a presentation on drugs and other forms of addiction, but not today. Today we have to rush through. Please move to the other ones. I want to go finish the addiction, finish this one and go to the. Please let's roll this one. Roll this one away. Okay. Let's roll this one away. All right. You have to respond to somebody. You've seen all these symptoms. They are not eating, they are not sleeping, they are cutting lectures. You've seen all those things among your friends. They are withdrawn, they are losing weight. You've seen all those things. What do you do? Do you just start broadcasting the message? No. Usually, one of the first things you have to do is to approach the person. And you do it nicely. My friends, I have so and so. I've been worried about you lately. I have realized that lately you've been sleeping too much. You've been sleeping more than usual, than you used to. Is there anything I can do to help? There's a way we go about it. And put yourself in the person's shoe. If it was you, what would you want to be done for you? How do you want the person to go about it? Right. So these are the things that you have to do. You are only a friend. You are not even a peer counselor yet. You are not a counselor. So you are not supposed to be taking things you don't know. This is just a tip. So set time, talk privately. Like I said, you call your friends privately, not in front of what? Everybody. Then communicate your concern honestly, clearly, kindly, and straightforwardly. You mention the thing you have observed. Don't say you have been doing this, no. You say, I have observed that lately you've been missing lectures. Don't say you have not been going to lectures. If you come and tell me you've not been going to lectures, I'll go bore. Okay? I have observed. I use always I statement. All right? So you say what you have done. Have specific behavioral example, like I've said. So note the thing you've seen. Use clear, concrete language. Ask open-ended question. Is there anything I can do? What is really going on? How can I be of help? Those are the words you use. All right? Okay. Then express your willingness to help the student seek resources. We have peer counselors here. Would you like to talk to any of them? Or we have pastors that help with some of these things. Ghanaians are very religious. The first thing they want is to talk to their. I don't have a problem with it. If the pastor knows what to do, if they don't know, they will bring them to us. But I've observed that quite recently, I've observed a change in your weight. Is there anything that you think we can do? Do you think that what's happening to your financial situation and all that? Especially if it's your roommate and you see that you are close with the person and you know that the person doesn't have money. You've seen with your eyes. Then be as matter of fact as possible. Don't be saying things like, are you depressed? Are you, please, don't start doing that. They encourage him or her to seek help. There are professionals around. A lot of students will not like to come to us. You all know, isn't it? They won't come. And sometimes you are so worried, you want to go and you want to bring the person. I always say, never go behind the person. Never do what? There are situations when the person's judgment is impaired. For example, in serious psychiatric or psychological issue, that's a different thing. But a lot of the time, a lot of our students, they can judge things from themselves. And so don't go behind him. You say something like, I'm worried about you. For example, if the person said they want to be suicidal, you would have to save life. So you have to let the person seek help. You have to let another person come in. But you don't just go and say that I'm taking you to. No. I'm worried about you. But I don't think I do have the right resources to deal with this. There are people, they are the counselors, they are the peer counselors. Some of our lecturers are available. I would like that you go with them. Do you think that you'll be able to go? The person says no. Now, if it's a suicidal situation, you are obligated to let somebody know. But this is how you do it. So, because your life is important and my life is important, we all need each other alive. I can't sit down so that this goes on. So I am obligated to let others know. But I'm going to do it I'm going to reveal it to the professionals. You see, when you do that, the person is already aware. Do you get it? Then you can come. Or else, if you do not do that, and you go behind the person, the person will be angry with you. You've broken trust. Because he said no, but you went behind him. Do you get it? So always, if you want to help friends, there are ways to do about it. If you are confused and you don't know, we'll put our lines on there. Call us. We'll tell you what to do. All right? Then you come to us. Then bring the idea of therapy and all that. So we've mentioned that. Highlight or underscore confidentiality. So you ask them, they do it confidentially and professionally. Not labeling them. You are this, you are this, you are no. You destigmatize. We don't want any stigma. We are trying to destigmatize mental health issues. Right. Please, next slide. Now, So I think this is okay. Now, what we don't want to do is to label and judge and minimize them. For example, wake a crying now usi. Me we be told me no. You see, we told me no. Me say I did ABCD. No, you are not. You see, two people can go through the same situation, but the way we respond is what? Different. Do you understand? So all that you have to do is listen. Don't judge the person. You are weak. You go to hell. You are a woman. You say you like a woman. To fear kwa, you are in hell already. No. There's a way we go about it, okay? All right, so don't judge the person. And the word is empathy. Empathy is, what does it mean? You put yourself in the person's what? Situation. Remember, if you are in that situation, what would you like your neighbor to do for you? All right, so we are still responding. So, I know what it's like. Do you know, understand exactly what you are going through. Instead of saying, I understand what. I appreciate this must be hard. Do you get it? This really must be very painful. Instead of saying, I know what you are going through, at that time, you are not in his, you don't know what he's going through, and everything will be okay. It is not okay for him at that time. If it was okay, he will not be crying. All right. Now, we said recognize the second one. We are on the third one, refer. These are numbers. How many of you don't know your college counselors' numbers? If you don't know, me, I'm for College of Agriculture and Natural Resources. So if you are in my college and you don't know me, my number is number what? 2. We'll give you, project the numbers later. Okay? But you would have to refer when it becomes difficult. And so, when do you refer? When the distress is disrupting the student progress. So it's not going for lectures, and you can't deal with it. You see a behavioral pattern in your interaction with the student, sleeping, and all that. The problem is more serious than you are comfortable with. You are worried about the person's safety. Remember when I indicated the first thing is safety risk. So if the person is suicidal, somebody starts saying things like, I wish I was not alive. Me cry me be wiase be ye din. Aden na me brese. What am I doing here on earth? When people start speaking that way, there's a way we go about it. You need to be concerned about them. If you are concerned about their impact on others, for example, they want to harm others, and you feel pressure to solve their problem, please, don't put yourself under any pressure. You are not a student savior. Just push it to us. That's why we are here. Okay. You're overextending yourself to help the student, or you feel anxious when the student is approaching. When he's coming to you, hey, what am I going to do? What is happening? Then you need to be able to refer. So these are the situations you should refer: suicidal issues, sexual assault. Even if it is somebody in authority that your friend has reported that the individual has assaulted him or her, kindly let the person know that that is a very traumatic situation and they will need help. Sometimes students are afraid. Just tell them that they don't have to be afraid. We are here to protect them. DOSA is there to protect your welfare. So let your friends know that anytime they are assaulted, we are there for them. It doesn't matter who does the assault. Okay? Yes. Physical assault, fear of their life, abuse, recent death of a family. Was it yesterday? Somebody brought somebody whose mother had died, and it was very traumatic for the person. And so we had to deal with the issue and help the person. So these are the circumstances under which you have to refer. All right. So thank you very much for listening to me.
Okay, thank you. Let's give it to her. And to Akuya, thank you very much for your presentation. Earlier, we told you that during the presentation, you have any question, you write it down, take note of it, and we'll give you the opportunity to ask your question. So we'll just take some few minutes and take your questions, then we'll go into the second part of the program, which is the launch of Resilient Minds project. So I'll call on all the counselors around to. Okay, they can stay. So if you have a question, you raise up your hand, then we'll take the question. Then one of the peer counselors will help me. Okay. Fortunately, the director's hand is up. So
thank you.
So
thank you very much
presenters,
for the presentation. I'm a student, and I'm worried. I cannot put my phone down. I'm always on the phone. I'm addicted to the phone. What is the way to go about this?
Okay, I don't know whether someone should write the questions for us so that take note of the questions. Yes, any other question? Oh, so many hands. That's good. Please, your name first.
Please, Wisdom. My question is to Mr. Rabbi. I would like to know his take on last-minute learners. That we can learn maybe 2 or 3
last-minute learning. Okay, yes, that's good. Okay. Yeah, the feminine side.
I'm Linda. Please, how can I overcome academic setbacks or failures and bounce back stronger when my hard work doesn't reflect in my performance?
Basically, she's trying very hard, but she's not achieving much. Yes, okay, go on.
Yes, I'm John Baptist. I do often hear people saying that we should be happy at all times, or we should smile. And just like they said, in each and every day, we are confronted with a lot of problems. How do I smile when there's no reason to smile? Or if it must be so, should I fake it? Or there's a better advice to this?
Okay. My name is Samuel Bimpe, a publishing studies student. My question is, I've been trying to learn very hard, but still it's not helping me to remember everything. So my question is, how can I build my confidence since it's setting me down?
Okay, thank you. We'll take the last 5, then after that we'll continue with it. Yes.
Hello, please. 5. My name is Martin. I have 2 questions. The first question is, I'm in final year, and from first year to third year, it was okay for me, but when it reached final year, it got to a point where I felt like giving up. In fact, my academics weren't going well. And then the thing is, just around that time, someone also called me, like, expecting that he or she will get a better response from me. So my question is, how do I help someone in distress when me, myself, I'm also in distress? And then my second question is that I had a friend who doesn't like opening up. In fact, I'm the first person that he opened up to.
Okay.
And as at 2 a.m., the person is calling me.
Okay.
Like confessing that the person is having suicidal thoughts and like saying all the causes of that. Okay. So in that case, if I don't have any knowledge around what the person is saying, what do I do?
Okay, thank you for your question. So we'll answer these questions, then we go to the next batch of questions. So I don't know whether I have to start with Rabbi. Okay.
Thank you. I would want to deal with what my brother asked. That's in those of us who are last-minute learners. The question is, ask yourself, has it worked for me? That's the question you ask. Has it worked for me? If it worked for you, why not? Maybe you have some techniques you use to do that to pass. However, if it doesn't, please, mostly it doesn't help students. Naturally, when you're about writing the exam, you are so anxious and you want to do everything at the same time. Don't forget, use the word cramming. So please, if it worked for you, I will encourage, I would advise that fine. But if it doesn't, please don't do that. Other than that, your brain will get stuck. at one moment you are trying to, because something through being, putting a lot of things in your brain, and it will break down. We've had instances at the office. If Abner can recall, the student was just reading, all of a sudden he started shouting. So please, so just know what works for you. You must know yourself individually. What works for you, go for it. But if you think it doesn't work for other advice, please do not go there at all. I don't know if I've answered yours, and what again? Okay then.
Yes. I want to attempt to answer a director's question. You are always on the phone. You can't let go. What do you want for yourself? That is the first thing I would ask. Would you want to stop using the phone too much to the point that it affects you? That is the first thing. You need to recognize that the usage of the phone is becoming a problem for you. Without that realization, you can't stop. So it starts from you. Have you realized that the usage of the phone is affecting your studies? Is it affecting your normal way of life? The normal things you do that makes you go on in a day, does the usage of the phone affect you? And are you ready to let go? Maybe you are ready to let go, but the how to is the problem. That makes it 50% of the issue solved. Because the how to would be that we would help you to go through the processes. One, if I want to use my phone, I need to pick it. I need to pick it. And so if I tell myself, I need to do something to prevent myself from using the phone too much to the detriment of my own progress, then I need to watch how I use my hand to pick the phone, literally. Because if I don't pick the phone, I will not open up to see what is on and move on to one thing and the other. Like you are using the Facebook, you're on Facebook, one thing will lead to another. So the will to stop is one. Then the next stage is when you tell yourself the skills you need to acquire or the skills you need to prevent the usage. So the first thing is the ability to tell yourself that I am going to use it as and when needed. And so sometimes you need to, even in your private timetable, I told somebody this afternoon that your private timetable, you need to have a time for chatting on it. There should be a time that you are telling yourself, I'm going to chat. Some of you have what we call the FOMO. You are going through FOMO, fear of losing out, fear of missing the information. So FOMO, fear of missing out. Everything you want to see, that will not help you. So once you get that desire to stop, then first of all, you tell yourself, it is my phone. I can regulate it. The phone cannot dictate for me. So as and when I need to, I pick it. I can tell myself that if it is the beep, the things that trigger me to want to watch, if it's the beep, I can put it on silent. So whilst I'm studying, I will not hear the beep. After studying, I'll pick it. There are sometimes you can also tell yourself that you want to give yourself a pat in the back, that I've been able to do this. I'm happy. So you put the phone down. You would, sometimes we call something phone fasting or so. I've forgotten the proper word. But you are depriving yourself the use of the phone for some time until something is done. And you use the phone as a way to give yourself some gratification. That, oh, I've been able to study for 30 minutes. Now I use the phone. So the phone becomes a price, the usage of the phone. So as you do those little things, it helps you to restrict yourself as to how you use the phone. And the phone will not take the better part of you. So these are skills that when you come around, we can go through it one step to the other, and then we can help ourselves. Thank you so much.
Good. I have been trying hard to study, but not remembering. So how can you remember? How can we help you to remember? It's it's quite complex. But what we can tell you is that you come to us. Maybe the way you are even studying can be a problem, can be a challenge. How are you studying? What kind of information? When we were in school, we used to do that non-fa or non-fa. Sometimes it can be possible. So when you come to us, we explore you. That's what we do. We do a lot of engagement. I don't know whether some of you have had this experience before. You are holding your own key, but you are gallivanting looking for the key. But you are still holding it. You're moving around looking for the key. Who have been in that situation before? I'm number one. I've been in that situation before. Me, I was in a store building. I descended to spark my car, and I realized I was not having my key. I moved up, trying to convince my daughters to tell them. Sometimes they play with my key. Where have they put the key? And the one said, Daddy, you are holding the key. Then I realized I'm having the key. It happens. So sometimes when you are in a state of confusion, you tend to forget what you have. That is why we always say, just come to us. We will explore you and we're able to help you know what you are going through. Sometimes maybe a medical condition, and we can do the appropriate referral. He said, a friend confided in me, he says, that friend has suicidal thoughts. I cannot help, but how can I deal with that? Auntie Ekia just talked about that. Please, just validate your friend's feelings, what he's going through. Don't just criticize him or throw stones at him. Yes, I understand. This thing can be so disturbing. But what do you have to do? You refer. But just validate her thought. Yes, it is. This thing can be so disturbing. But I think I know someone who can really, really assist you. And you can do the honorable referral by sending them to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rabbi and Head of Counseling.
Yeah, I think this question is about sometimes we tell ourselves, who counsels the counselor? The question that came that says that, how can I help somebody when I'm also troubled? So you answered it. You can't help somebody when you cannot manage your trouble, or you cannot overcome, or somehow push yours aside and support somebody. Tell you, most of the counselors, sometimes you are coming to the office, you have your own challenges, but you are able to manage it and support somebody. So if you can't manage yours, please come to us. Let's help you. And also do the referral, so that you don't give more, for want of a better word, I would say poison. More harm, yes. You don't do more harm than good to the person. So please, if you know yours is not helping you, check it. Now, I think the other thing, how can you keep the smile? How can you smile always in difficulty? You said that we said you should always be smiling. And if you are hungry, how can you smile? It's true, you can't smile when you are hungry. But that is why the DOSA is there, director is here. When you come to the office, there are some things that we help you with. If it's hunger, come. We can find a way to support you. If it's financial challenges, come. There are some leads we can give you, and then you take steps and you can have some support. There have been times that the office will pay for people's accommodation, people's fees, and you don't know, but you are there suffering in silence. That is why we say that if you have challenges, come. Go to your college counselor, talk to a peer counselor, talk to a lecturer. Sometimes they also know that we are there. They will bring you to us. Please, don't suffer in silence. The numbers we showed, if you did not get any of them, before you leave here, make sure you know your college counselor's number. All the college counselors are here. Please, take note of that so that you can have support. Our sister is bringing something. So that we want to continue with the second session. It says that I was brought up as an introvert. And my late sister's niece allowed me to socialize with many people. As an international student who does not know how to make friends, how should I copy up in this new... how should I cope? I think the person didn't write the cope well. So how should I cope in this new environment? Most of the time, I cry when I miss home. Yes, homesickness. Please, If you cry when you miss home, that is why we are here. This person, I want to see you because of the next thing. I want to see you. Don't raise your hand. Don't show any sign. I want to see you. You can pick my number. You can pick my number. It's 0244 26 3984. 0244 26 3984. So that we go through it. You need to make friends and be able to cope with your new environment away from home. So kindly call me or send me a WhatsApp message. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Head. There's also a food bank at the chaplains. If you come there, you'll be assessed and you see whether you really qualify. Okay, so Auntie PSR, continue.
Thank you so much. I think we should put our hands together for all our presenters and those who have answered our questions. Because of time, I'm going to mention our hotlines. There are also WhatsApp lines. Some of your questions, you can forward them to us, and we will engage you one-on-one to address them. So please take these numbers: 050 644 9747. I repeat, 050 644 9747. I'm adding another one: 059 4399 772. 059 4399 772. These are our hotlines. You can reach us on any of these at any time and you receive a response. It's also, as I said, WhatsApp. You can send your questions and they will all be addressed. Well, so we come to the second segment of our program today. Ask your neighbor, do you have a resilient mind? And what does that mean, actually? Just ask your neighbor.
Ask the person to your right or to your left.
How resilient is your mind? And I hope you get answers. All right, so we would not waste time at all. It is a privilege to be here to be witnesses and participants in the launching of the Johnson & Johnson project termed Resilient Minds. It's a major project concerning mental health, and we're going to learn so much today. We have a high table, and we would want to have some of us take up the high table before we begin the second part. I would please request that when I mention your name, you take up a seat at the top here for us to begin the program. I would first of all please request that the Director of Student Affairs, Professor Wilson Ejari, comes up, do us the honor of sitting at the table.
Let's give it to them as they come upstage.
We also want to welcome Professor Marian Kansa. Please join us. Professor Enin, all from DOSA. Please, Prof. Our Dean, IPO Dean, Prof. Dua, can you please come up stage for us? Our Vice Dean, Professor Esmeralda Manfo, please. Okay. We would especially want to invite Professor Sister Frances Owusu-Ansah, representing the Pro-Vice Chancellor.
Let's give it to her.
Yes. Sister, you're welcome. We've missed you.
So much.
We want to welcome Reverend Dr. J.W. Echampong, our Protestant chaplain, upstage. Professor Frimpong, please do us the honors. And Dr. Pon, please. On the Johnson side, Mr. Emmanuel Asantentry and Madam Linda Arthur. We need more chairs here. Please help us get more chairs.
Peer counselors, help us to bring some of the chairs.
Peer counselors.
Peer counselors, please hurry up. Bring some of the chairs.
Add more chairs there. And we want our head of counseling center to also join us upstage. Thank you very much. All right. We will stand on the existing prayers rendered at the beginning to continue the second segment. And so we would zoom in right away to listen to a presentation about the Johnson mental health focus and the need for partnership with KNUST from a representative from Johnson & Johnson. Let us welcome Mr. Asantentry. Mr. Emmanuel Asantentry.
Shall we please give another round of applause for all the presenters so far? Standing on all current protocols, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great honor and privilege that I stand before you today on behalf of Johnson & Johnson, a company deeply committed to advancing healthcare and addressing the critical challenges facing our society. For decades, Johnson & Johnson has worked tirelessly to remove barriers and change how mental health and well-being are understood, treated, and prioritized for everyone. Our goal is to enable individuals to bring their best selves to their lives, work, family, and communities. At Johnson & Johnson, we recognize the profound impact that mental health disorders have on individuals, families, and communities worldwide. That is why we are steadfast in our dedication to researching and developing innovative solutions for these complex conditions. Today, as an alumnus of this great university, from the Faculty of Pharmacy, I am proud and incredibly excited about the launch of this strategic partnership between Johnson & Johnson and this esteemed university, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Together, we are launching the Resilient Minds Future Leaders Program, a groundbreaking initiative aimed at increasing awareness of mental health disorders within the university community. Through this program, Johnson & Johnson will provide invaluable support to KNUST, including capacity building for healthcare professionals and initiatives to enhance early access to appropriate interventions and care for patients. Our ultimate goal is to reduce stigma, improve overall health, and enhance the quality of life for all members of the university. We are deeply grateful for this collaboration and partnership of KNUST in this endeavor. As we embark on this journey together, let us reaffirm our commitment to fostering a culture of understanding, compassion, and support for mental health initiatives. By working hand in hand, we can empower future generations to lead healthier, more resilient lives. In closing, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to the Vice Chancellor, Prof. Rita Dixon, to the Pro-Vice Chancellor, Prof. Ellis Owusu-Dabo, the Dean, International Programs Office, Prof. Daniel Dua, and the members of the Office of the IPO, Madam Yvonne, and the team. I'd like to also thank the Medical Director, KNUST Hospital, Dr. Osu Ansan, the Administrator, Mr. Ban. I'd like to also thank the resident psychiatrist, Dr. Frimpong Manso Ado. I'd like to thank the past president of the Psychiatric Association of Ghana, Dr. Ruth Owusu-Antwi. And I would also like to thank especially Madam Victoria and the KCC team. Please, can we put our hands together for this marvelous team? And the entire leadership team at KNUST for this vision, partnership, and dedication to this important cause. Together, we will pave the way for a healthier and more hopeful future for all. Resilient minds are the future leaders of this nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Antwi.
Another round of applause for Mr. Emmanuel Asante Antwi. Thank you so much for that. It's time to view a short video on resilient minds. And before we roll on to that, we want to welcome Dr. Ruth Owusu Antwi in our midst. Madam, can you please join us up here? Let's put hands together as we welcome Dr. Ruth Owusu Antwi. We hear more about her. Thank you very much. So please, let's look at the screens as we watch a short video on resilient minds. Thank you.
At Janssen, we are called to rise each morning and achieve today what last night seemed unimaginable. We are called to blaze paths where others fear to go, to unravel and repair the very code of life, to treat, intercept, prevent, and cure. We are called to open our doors to collaboration and our arms to the needs of each patient, so that what works in our labs also works in their lives. We are called to advance how medicines are made and made accessible around the world. We are Janssen, the pharmaceutical companies of Johnson & Johnson, and we are heeding the call. Bravely and boldly, fighting sickness with science, improving access with ingenuity, and healing hopelessness with heart, until the world's most daunting diseases are found only in the pages of history books. At Janssen, we're creating a future where disease is a thing of the past.
So, good afternoon to everybody. As mentioned earlier, my name is Linda Arthur. I work for Johnson & Johnson, and it's a real privilege to be here. Why do I say that? It brings back so much nostalgia. I was a campus kid. My father was a professor here. I grew up on campus, went to university, primary, university, nursery school. So coming back here is exciting. But what's more important is this project. Why do I say that? I don't know whether one of you can describe to me how WHO describes health. Can anyone attempt to describe how WHO describes health? Does anyone know? Yeah, the lady at the back there.
Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not necessarily the absence of disease. Thank you.
Fantastic. She said it so well. The WHO defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Thank you so much. Another reason why I'm excited about this project is because it aligns with the UN Sustainable Development Goal 17, which speaks about partnerships for the goal. And one of the goals here is SDG 3, which aims to prevent suffering, needless suffering from preventable diseases and premature death. So as I heard some of the speakers, I believe the counselor talking about, preventing, trying to help a friend who wants to commit suicide or who is depressed, It's so important that we preserve lives. I mean, we've been through one of the worst global pandemics ever, and people are still unraveling from it. So we are each other's keepers. Yes, the churches are there, but you know what? A kind word to a friend, a family member, goes a long way. Let's be kind to them, and let's just be each other's keepers along the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Auntie Linda Arthur, for that presentation. And so you ask your neighbor again, how resilient is your mind? Are you now finding answers? I'm sure you have a few of them by the time we are done. But I want to receive a very special guest this afternoon representing the management of this university in the person of Reverend Professor Frances Emilio Usuansa. She's the head of Department Behavioral Sciences of the College of Health Sciences. She is the immediate past and founding head of KNUST Counseling Center. Sister, we are pleased to have you. Please, put your hands together. Let's welcome her.
Thank you very much, Auntie P. Good afternoon to everyone, and respectfully, all protocol duly acknowledged. I was really delighted when I received a call from the Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Ellis Owusu-Darboh, to come and be here in his stead, because he had to be elsewhere today at the same time. I was delighted because coming to any program for the Counseling Center and for the Directorate of Student Affairs is like coming back home. I'm delighted. So thank you very much. I'd like to make a comment on something Auntie Akuya said, because I know she will understand me. That usually when we have this program, we have a full house. I want to say that, yes, we are not full house, but not to worry and not to be discouraged, because it's not the numbers. If all of us gathered here are really committed to the process, I think we can achieve a lot. Because I know someone who had only 12 apostles, but they changed the whole world. So we can do that. All right, I would want to give the message from the Pro-Vice Chancellor, because I'm representing him. And with due permission, I will intersperse his message with my own messages. But I won't keep long, it's going to be brief. Let me start by expressing the immense gratitude that Professor Ellis Owusu-Darboh wants to convey to the Johnson & Johnson for this important health campaign for the university. Johnson & Johnson, as a leader in the fight against the world's most devastating and complex diseases for so many years, it is no wonder that they are so willing and able to look at challenges that are often not talked about, mental health challenges. So under the Resilient Minds Future Leaders Program, we expect to increase awareness in mental health issues and enhance access to appropriate treatment and care within the university community. According to the WHO, there is quite a bit of percentage, about 13% of Ghanaians who suffer from mental health issues. And mental health issues, from mild to severe forms, are more prevalent amongst the youth. And so the youth is a critical group, because there's a whopping 75% of youth that report first-time experiencing of any form of mental health condition Here, we're not just talking about serious mental health conditions like schizophrenia. We are talking about other forms like depression, anxiety, and other less serious mental health conditions. But with timely diagnosis and appropriate intervention, these can be treated, and the persons who suffer them can be helped to live more fulfilling lives. If you've had someone close to you, like a family member, or a roommate, or a child, suffer any form of mental illness, you would know that mental illness has devastating effects on a person's life and affects all spheres of the person's life, from social to emotional to occupational effects. And people who suffer from these mental illnesses often also suffer different forms of discrimination and stigmatization, sometimes being misunderstood, sometimes being teased just because they have a mental health condition. It is important here for us to draw a distinction between mental illness or mental disorders and mental health in general. And I'm happy that the lady who just spoke before me drew our minds to the right definition of mental health according to WHO. We note that it's not the absence of disease, but it's a comprehensive well-being that encompasses both emotional, social, occupational, all forms of well-being. So we can say that mental illness, whilst it's a medical condition that involves changes in emotions and cognition and behavior, with certain symptoms and signs that impact people's life differently, mental health, on the other hand, is something that also encompasses our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. So we can say that mental health reflects the way we think, how we feel, and how we act. So we can say that when someone is healthy mentally, this person is doing well in all these areas that we've talked about: socially, emotionally, psychologically, occupational-wise, and relationship-wise, intrapersonal and interpersonal. We can also say that health is wealth, and so that when we sometimes, just as sometimes we suffer from physical ill health, such as when you have a cold or you have malaria, we can also sometimes suffer from mental ill health or the lack of well-being. This is because life is full of troubles, and we are all aware of it. There are many issues that can get us down, from academic issues to occupational to social or in between. And these stresses, depend on how they are handled, can affect our mental well-being. So we clearly see that the two are interrelated, but they are not the same. And so we want to encourage all of us that for us to improve our mental well-being, it is okay to seek help when we have to. And I want to emphasize that help-seeking behavior is not a sign of weakness. Actually, it's a sign of strength. The strength of adequate self-knowledge. It is when I know that I don't have something, then I can begin to go look for that which I don't have. So seeking help is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength for us. We want to say a big thank you to the Resilient Minds program and members of the KNUST community who are willing and ready to participate in this program that has been brought to us, so that we would all have an improved understanding of mental health and mental illness and mental well-being. More importantly, our partners, the Johnson & Johnson Company, will provide us support through the Counseling Center and the Directorate of Student Affairs in general and the KNUST Hospital to improve our capacity to attend to students and their needs and staff and their dependents who may need help in this area. We must emphasize that we need to discover within ourselves the strength to speak up when we need help and encourage others to do the same when they need help. We must replace stigma and discrimination with a listening ear, encouraging words, and love. We must join forces to face the challenges that confront us and train ourselves to be able to recover from these challenges. We are all invited to train ourselves to be resilient in our minds. I was sitting there thinking about that word, and when the facilitator said, turn to your neighbor and say, do you have a resilient mind? One of the things that came to my mind is that to have a resilient mind is to be stress hardy, because life will always be full of challenges. I once worked with a student who is now a surgeon at Cath, and he shared with me that the first time he failed anatomy, he was so devastated because he was like, I, so and so, I will not mention his name. Let's say I, Kwame Pa, fail anatomy. Because in his school, he was a shark. Then he came to KNUST and met other sharks who swallowed him. And he failed anatomy. And he couldn't take that. And he said for the first time, he realized that his words, he said, Charlie, I knew that this thing called mental health is a serious thing, because he almost lost it because he failed that course. His whole sense of personhood and identity changed. But then how he coped with that experience is what we are talking about when we talk about resilience, being stress hardy, because life will happen and life is hard. But then how do we cope and how do we bounce back? And I think that is what this is practically all about. So let me conclude by extending the Pro-Vice Chancellor's sincere appreciation to all those who have contributed in making this partnership with Johnson & Johnson a reality, including the International Programs Office, the University Hospital, the Directorate of Student Affairs, and many others who have worked behind the scenes. Your dedication and collaboration are invaluable in advancing the mental health and well-being of our KNUST community. Together, let us continue to strive for resilience and support each other on the way as we do so. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.
Thank you so much, Sister Emily. She always wants to be introduced simply as Sister Emily. Sister Emily, thank you so much for that insightful presentation. And so you ask your neighbor, how stress-hardened are you? Did you pick that? Your answer determines whether you are becoming resilient at mind. So what are they saying? What's your neighbor saying? How stress-hardened are you? Get answers so that you can review it next time you ask the same question. All right, so we are privileged to have been located as a university by Johnson & Johnson to roll out this program, and I believe that at the end of it all, we will be the most privileged and blessed people to have gone through the program. And so I will not waste my time. I want us to, they are working together with the whole the community at large, that's the university staff, students, dependents, and the KNUST hospital. So we will receive a presentation on the general mental health as it stands now, and we would have that to be given to us by our own friend, Dr. Frimpong Manso Ado. He's a consultant psychiatrist at KNUST Hospital and Komfanochi Teaching Hospital with special interest in the mental health of the youth, social and rehabilitation psychiatry. He has research interest in these areas and has published many of his works in that direction. Doctor, you are welcome. We are ready to listen to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the applause. I want to thank Johnson & Johnson for this opportunity to meet the student body and talk to you about mental health. But before that, I want to thank Professor Sister Emily for doing my job for me, because she's already talked to you about mental health. So basically, I'm just here to show my face, because Sister has done the work already. Number two, allow me to sit down because I'm closer to fellow Ghanaian. Right. A few of you may know me from KNUST Hospital, from lectures. And so I'm going to make my speech more practical. And maybe if there are questions, I'll digress a bit over them. So, Sister spoke about the definition of health in general. And whenever I'm teaching my students, I put more emphasis on the mental side of health, because most often than not, we think because we can carry a bag of cement or a bag of maize, we are healthy. But maybe inside there in the coconut, we may not be healthy. And so health, to me, should be looked at under three broad headings, as Sister or Prof. Sister Emily said. The physical health, the mental health, and the social side of health. And let me take the mental health out and label it as psychiatry. And so I'm a psychiatrist, and most often than not, when people are asked to see the psychiatrist, they panic. And why? Because we have all sorts of interpretation for what is the mental side of our health. It stems from our culture, our tradition, and our own experiences. And so, to me, mental health is the mind aspect of who we are. And the mind aspect is the invisible way in which the brain functions. And I don't want to go through the nitty-gritty of how the brain functions invisibly. The visible ones we see because the brain tells us, greet this person or don't greet that person. So we see movements. Do a marathon and win. And so we see ourselves motivated to run and win the marathon. But the invisible part, which deals with our emotions, how happy we feel, how sad we feel, whether we are able to appreciate our environment, both internally and externally, and give meaning to them. How we interpret people's smiles, people's interactions with us, they all fall under the mind. And sometimes it becomes a bit distorted for us to interpret all these things in the normal way. And when this happens, we begin to behave, and please underline that word for me, we begin to behave strangely, so that people who know us will then point it out to us that you are changing. And this is when we begin to realize that we need help. The previous speakers have highlighted on when we should begin to seek help, starting from our counselors. And when the counselors with their rich experience get in touch with you, they will realize that, I think you need to go further and see Dr. Frimpong Manso and his colleagues and, get sorted out. So what are some of the big issues that can make the mind process things wrongly? And these are what we lump together as stresses. Stress in life can affect the way and manner the brain function and interpret ourselves, the external environment, and then start behaving according to the way we perceive them. And the way and manner we may start, reacting to the distorted way we are perceiving them will come across as mental illness. And this is when friends can tell us that, well, you are changing and that you need help. Some of these stresses, I thought from my childhood that it should be financial problems. Unfortunately, various researchers have shown that the number one stress is not money, but other things. For us gathered here today, I think some of the causes which will interest us will be increased responsibilities because we've come to university. Heavy course workload is on top of the list, and not money problems or financial problems. Lack of good time management can affect the way and manner our brain processes information internally and externally. I'm choosing my words carefully so that I don't confuse you and use psychiatric jargons. So bear with me. And when we are overburdened with workload, academic workload, we then make some effort not to rest the brain. And so we change our day-to-day sleep pattern. And our eating habits will also follow. I remember myself eating fufu around 1 a.m. When I was sitting for my membership exam. the experience wasn't nice at all. And so it can put a lot of stress on the brain. And then the brain will start perceiving things around us differently. I'm going to land on perceiving things differently, and so you bear with me. Relationships are also on top of the list. And then from there, we can touch on financial problems. So, I guess some of you want to disagree with me and say that, but I thought I come from Kodobeda, and so my parents are poor, and so financial problems should have been on top of the list. No. Increase academic work, poor time management with, meeting deadlines, changes in our sleep and eating habits, relationships, financial problems, and then you can list all sorts of stressful life situations. These things can trigger psychiatric problems, some of which are starting from the top, schizophrenia, and then followed by going down, mood disorders, and then below that, anxiety disorders. Schizophrenia, mood disorders, which include manic depressive disorders, and anxiety disorders, feeling anxious excessively. Anxiety is important. We all need to be anxious. Without anxiety, we will just sleep and feel as if nothing is at stake and do nothing. But when we're a bit anxious, we work harder to achieve our goals and targets. But when the anxiety becomes overwhelming, then it starts giving us problems. And then our patients come to the clinic, and instead of giving us a symptom or a couple of symptoms in one department of the body, they will give us multiple symptoms which will confuse the doctors. And then they will ask for all sorts of investigations. So stress is just the conduit or the pathway to opening up, schizophrenia, mood disorders, which include manic depressive disorders, and then down the bottom, anxiety disorders. I intentionally don't want to talk about organic causes of mental health problems because they will not fit into the time I've got. And then below that is addictions, which is very important to students of our caliber. And when you come to university and you are wooed into using drugs for all sorts of things, then we have a problem. I don't want to become a preacher, and so I'm not including organic causes of psychiatric problems and then drug use causes. But then I want to touch on the fact that we need to be aware. Some of us are made in such a way that genetically or biologically, we can tolerate all sorts of drugs, including cannabis, stimulants like cocaine, amphetamines, and depressants like opiates, Tramor, and things. But you know what? No all of us can tolerate this stuff, and we don't know who we are. And a few of you may be tempted to test them. Beware. One test may open up a serious mental health problem like schizophrenia for you. Maybe during questions and answers time, I can expand on time. We have available interventions when people, develop mental health problems. We know that we have our counselors. They are ready to prop you up and make sure that we solve the problem at the budding stage so that you don't become a full-blown psychiatric case. We have psychologists. Sister Kuyafri is there. We have other people around who can also counsel you and help you equip yourself with coping skills that will give you resilient minds. And that takes me back to the title of this project. Resilient minds, to me, are minds that are equipped with the bullets to deal with problems as and when they arise. And once we're able to face problems in life, we are resilient. We never fail. And then we go ahead and conquer the problems and move on. But not all of us are equipped with such coping mechanisms. And some of us crumble. And if you do, don't worry. Don't be shy. Consult your counselors. They work with us. They protect us, including myself. So they keep us in the background. But they know that when they go and get stuff and you come to me, we will massacre the problem and get you stabilized so that you achieve your academic aspirations while you are here. We also have social workers who work with us. And when you have social problems, don't forget the definition of health encompasses the body, mind, and then social network. And the social worker will be there to also help us give you treatment. Finally, I want to touch on some of the solutions and the limitations that we have. We are hoping that in the very near future, we will get a psychiatric unit that will be staffed with psychiatric nurses. Our counselors will be there. Our psychologists will be there to give you psychological support, talking treatment, we call it. And if you need medications, I will be there with my colleagues to prescribe them and monitor you. If you need admission, we will be there to treat you. We don't give up. We are here to graduate, and we must make sure that we achieve that goal. Finally, we have a bit of problems at the moment, but I'm sure they will be sorted out. Our pharmacy unit is not staffed with the kind of medications that will help us solve problems quickly. But we are hoping that this Honorable Director of Students Affairs is my Alpha and Omega. He's here and you will take notes. Once we get sorted out, we'll give you every support. I'll finish my talk on mental health by thanking Prof. Sister Emily for opening what mental health is. But I'll finish finally by saying that we are there to treat those who become unwell so that you achieve your academic goals, so that you get resilient minds and be strong and fear no who. Thank you.
Come on, do it better for Dr. Frimpong Manso-Addo. We have learned so much. He has taken us through the School of Psychiatry, I believe. And he said, resilient minds are able to solve life's problems. Thank you so much. Before we move on to the next speaker, I want to acknowledge a few dignitaries that have joined us. And we'll go on. From the hospital administration, we have hospital administrator representing the director, University Health Services, Mr. Ebenezer Babwatin. I learned he's there. Thank you, sir, for coming. And then we have our own matron, Ms. Diana Appiah. Thank you, madam, for coming. And we have acting pharmacy superintendent and head of clinical pharmacy, Dr. Ebenezer Asamoah-Nyarko. Thank you so much for coming. We have Mr. James Ayeku, advanced psychiatric nurse practitioner. Thank you for your presence. Ask your neighbor, do you know the current mental picture of KNUST? You must be seated by a neighbor who likes answering questions by now. Otherwise, you have to change your neighbor. Huh? Do you know the current mental health picture of KNUST? Well, I don't know much, so I'm glad to invite to the podium our own head of KNUST Counseling Center, Mrs. Victoria de Graaf Tejay, to briefly give us an account of the picture of KNUST mental health. Oh, please keep clapping.
Thank you. I went for a program and I was there with Dr. Ruth Owusu-Antwi and Dr. Francis Opon. And a story came up, and I think that story will sum up what I want to see. And it goes like this. Every day, 1 in 5 people experience some mental challenges. And a lot of such people attempt suicide. Currently, in this room, there might be people who have tried it before. And that person may be sitting by you. Somebody has turned to check the one sitting by him or her. And the person that turned to check might be. So that's the picture. It means that at KNUST, no matter what, our students or members of the university community, some people might be going through mental challenges at any point in time. And that is why the launch of Resilient Minds is very, very important. At the center, every year it's between 1,800 and 2,200 clients that we get. Of this, about 55% of them are males, and 45 will be females. Now, of this number 2, 23% go through some psychological challenges. And this range from stress, depression, attempted suicide, and the others, schizophrenia and others. And so, we can't belabor the point of all the presentations or the comments that have come. We all have to accept that we go through one mental challenge or the other at a time, depending on the issues. I'm sure that within these 3 days that the internet has been down, somebody is affected. Yes, even in this room. It can be from the mild to the severe. And I'm sure if it goes on like this, some parents are using the internet to work, I'm sure. So getting money for you will be a challenge. Am I not right? And when that happens, it's going to affect you.
And that affects you to the point that mentally you cannot even concentrate on your studies. So the picture is that somebody at KNUST at a particular time or every day might be going through some challenges. Even today, the College of Engineering counselor is not here. She has been called to come to the hospital because somebody has attempted suicide. Even today. And that is why we are saying that check your brother. Be your brother's keeper. Resilient minds is when we build ourselves to be mentally strong in the face of challenges. So that no matter what, life will not be easy. But when the tough times come, we will be strong enough to go through. And so at the counseling center, we have what we call the emotional resilience podcast we do with the e-learning center. We give emotional resilience tidbits every week to students. And currently we are working on finishing touches to the e-counseling app, where very soon we'll launch it for every student to have access. So at the tip, or just by a snap of your finger, you would get somebody to help you. We know that most of you do not want to come to the center because of classes and all that. But at least, once you have the app, which is a toll-free, it will be on your phone, and every phone, whether Android or the other ones, each of them can use. And when the time comes, please take advantage, come around. And I know the VC would be here to launch it and would all be able to support ourselves. Be your brother's keeper. The picture is that somebody is suffering. We don't want anybody to suffer in silence. We don't want to lose anybody. So be your brother's keeper. Let's develop ourselves to have resilient minds. Resilient minds will reflect in resilient activities, resilient behaviors that will help us overcome the challenges. And at the end of the day, we would all be safe and sound to go through our problems, to go through our studies, to go through whatever may be seen as a challenge, because we are different people. What will make you have challenges mentally may be different from another, but resilient minds will help us achieve our goals. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Head of Counseling. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, one more round of applause. I believe we are becoming more resilient by the minute. And since it's 5 p.m. already, we have a few remarks to go, because I know some of us, our stomachs are becoming more resilient than our minds. And so we'll be here in no time. We'll be out of this place very soon. SRC President, Nana, I know he's here. Is the SRC President here? The Vice President. All right, let's acknowledge him. Thank you very much. A few more remarks and we will be done. So we want to acknowledge the presence and receive remarks from our invited guests. There are two of them. The very first is Dr. Ruth Owusu-Entry. She's a lecturer at the Department of Behavioral Sciences at the School of Medicine and Dentistry, and also practices in Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital as a senior specialist and the current head of the psychiatry unit. She's the immediate past president of the Psychiatric Association of Ghana. Let's receive Dr. Ruth.
Permit me to stand on the already established protocols and say a very good evening to all of us. I would just share two brief stories to make my remark. I teach usually clinical students, and in one of the batches, I heard a story that the students came to the ward, the psychiatric ward, for their bedside teaching. And in the process, a female patient who was trying to bolt from the ward bumped into one of the students. And what this student did was to run back to the hostel, remove her lab coat or her white coat she was wearing. And guess what she did to it? Dumped it straight into the bin. That white coat, because had touched someone on the psychiatric ward, did not even deserve to be washed. So I decided to take a strategy to let my students know that mental disorders are no respecter of persons. So in another period, when they had come to the ward and their bedside teaching had coincided with one student, one of them, actually their classmate who had come for review, I asked the students whether it's okay for some of her friends to sit in the consultation. And I had to let her know that it's okay to say she doesn't want to, and it's okay not to say some of the things. If she doesn't want to say anything, she's fine not to say them until the students leave. Thankfully, she agreed. So about 5 students sat in, and I had to warn them, you're not taking anything out of this consulting room out. There, sitting in the patient chair, is one of their classmates, narrating to me what she's going through. And I turned around, look at all the classmates, and there was a tear in all of their eyes. They were shocked that this person, they see her at the hostel, they see her at the marketplace going to buy food. She is well dressed. She's not lying on the psychiatric ward. She was actually in her white coat, coming for her consultation and moving to another ward. She was just like them, and yet living with a very severe mental breakdown. And when I asked them, what would you do after here when you see this lady in the hostel, when you see this classmate in the hostel? They all said, we'll go up to her and ask her, how are you doing? How are things? Is there anything we can do to help? Are you taking your medication? I said, that's right. That is what mental health is all about. That it is so common, like it was just said by head of the counseling unit, 1 out of every 4 people will suffer from mental disorder at some point in their lifetime. And when I go back and talk about that statistic, I want to take account that every 4th person, so if we start from that corner, 1, 2, 3, every 4th person can suffer. If we start from the back, every 4th. If we start from this corner, we can start from the high table. The 4th will fall on different people. It depends on where you are starting from. And that's what shows that it can be anybody at any time. And again, that is what makes me excited to be here this evening, to be part of this program, Resilient Mind Future Leaders. This is because this program seeks to address a very critical aspect of our educational journey, which is resilience. As university students, I am sure that we are not merely here to acquire knowledge, but we also want to develop qualities that will propel us into leadership roles in the future. And central to this journey, although very neglected, is the cultivation of resilience. We all face challenges and we struggle at various points in our lives as students, constantly juggling between multiple responsibilities, trying to please your girlfriend, your boyfriend, trying to pass your exams, trying to please your roommates, your parents, trying to make sure that we meet all the expectations that are expected of us. And some of these things take a toll on our well-being if we do not manage them well. And that is why it's important to acknowledge and address our mental health needs just as we prioritize our physical needs. I want to conclude by encouraging all of us that it's okay not to be okay. Seeking mental help is not a sign of weakness, but it's a sign of strength. I want to encourage all of us to make it easy for people to seek mental health care. Let us do away with stigma and normalize seeking mental health care as we forge towards our individual goals and aspirations in life. Thank you very much to Johnson & Johnson for making this possible. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mrs. Ruth Owusu-Entry, for encouraging us. And the second remarks that we are going to receive that is drawing us closer to the end of the program is from Dr. Francis Opong. He is the Ashanti Regional Psychiatrist. In fact, his profile is very long. And I want to read a few so that we can stand on that. He's a member of Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons, Faculty of Psychiatry, 2018, attained Masters of Business Administration in 2016 at KNUST, member of International Society. Okay, plenty. But his name is, should I mention his name again? Dr. Francis Opong. Can we please have you give us a few remarks?
Thank you. And I was told I have 5 minutes. And as a result of being part of mental health, I've become a storyteller. So in the next 5 minutes, I want to tell a short story as my remarks. I'm also standing on the existing protocols. I remember calling my 10-year-old daughter, advising her that, look, I can die anytime, so do this, don't do this. He said, Daddy, this is not the first time you told me you can die. You told me that last month. Last 2 weeks you told me. Today you are telling me. Every day you tell me you die, you die. Today, die and let me see. So I remember 22 years ago, in this same hall, I underwent matriculation. And then a few months later, a few weeks, we had Thanksgiving service. And then one bishop preached. And he said his message was entitled, The Mystery of Success. So you should have something in you to succeed. As I sat down, that was the first time I heard resilience. You should be resilient. You should have something in you. You should be charismatic. I heard so many things. I sat and started looking at myself. Do I have any of these things? Well, I started going through lectures. And then mid-semester, end of semester. By the time I realized, I was calling the registrar of the then School of Medical Sciences. That doc, I think anytime I try to read anything beyond 30 or 40 minutes, I experience burning sensations in my head. He said, my friend, don't shut up. You've even got the opportunity to come to the university and you are coming to complain you are having something, you want to back off. He didn't help. I didn't get any help. I thought I could hear something. At that time, there was no counseling center. I was looking for somebody to talk to. Around the time I was having a chat with my mother. Oh, how is school? I told my mother immediately, hey, my mother had diarrhea. She rushed, diarrhea on the spot. And then I came back, not knowing what to do, how to go through the end of semester exams. I drew close to a friend. And then I said, Ato, Charlie, this is a problem I've been going through. Oh, microbiology. Come and sit down and let's do something. Ato did something with me. He said, go and see, I'm reading something, go and see Sami for another thing. Go and see this person. By the time I realized there was a study group. And out of that discussion, questions, I went through successfully without a trail. And that was when I appreciated teamwork. And then the second one was I joined a master's program in 2014, around the time when I was going to start my membership training. Along the line, there was another team. I told one guy that, look, I've started another program. I have so many responsibilities, so I have written that I defer the program. And the guy said, without you, how can we also go through? So he told other people, and I was advised to withdraw the letter I had written to defer. And through meeting every day in the evenings, close to the exam, sharing ideas, solving questions, all of us went through and we graduated in 2016 with a Master of Business Administration. And before Dr. Ifeanyi spoke, I heard something that we are privileged and blessed to have the Resilient Minds program. And as I looked around this same room where I sat for matriculation, and there was no counseling center, and those privileges were not there, I began to recount that we are privileged. And at that time, if we had to send an email, we have to go to the internet cafe. And our phones were not flat and touchscreen. We only had big mobile phones. You could press and make calls and send short SMS messages. And we are privileged. You can call anytime. You can send even WhatsApp messages when you have challenges. And so I realized that the message of being privileged and blessed to have the Resilience Mind program is a reality and not just a rhetoric. On this note, I want to leave by saying that teamwork, partnership can help. You may have a problem without knowing. A partner, a friend, a team member, a class member can see and help you. You can also be an agent who can see something about somebody and want to help. I was about telling a last story, but it may prolong it. But it may be important. We have heard that somebody jumped the 8th floor of Unity Hall and lost his life. And I was told, I later heard the story that before this guy jumped and lost his life, he was going around and distributing his food items, clothing. And the day he jumped, he started singing, "I believe I can fly." People realized that this was not the person they were seeing. The behavior had changed, but nobody paid attention to it. Perhaps we didn't have the knowledge that this could be a mental health problem, because the guy was so happy, excited, and sharing money and everything, and hugging people and singing that he believed he could fly. He indeed flew and lost his life because he was a human being. So as we see things about people, hotlines are there. And as we go through this program, Resilience Mind, I believe we are going to share ideas. We are going to learn about mental health, how to identify and how to help peers, how to talk to our peers and help them. So I believe that we should take opportunity and utilize it very well. On this note, I'd like to say thank you very much.
How many enjoyed the stories that Dr. Francis Opon told? So ask your neighbor, what did you pick from the story? Are you distributing your goods now? Have you located anybody distributing his or her food? Please quickly refer and be each other's keeper. Thank you so much. When we began the program, most of you were not here. I'm very happy to introduce this person again. We call him the father of the university. He has a lot of nicknames. I don't know whether he knows them. But today I want to add one to say he's a resilient father of KNUST community. If any Papo, he has a lot of names. Prof, do you know you have a lot of names? Okay, so one of them today is Papo. Let's put our hands together. Let's welcome Prof. Wilson Ejari, Director of Student Affairs, for his closing remarks.
Thank you very much. I'm always happy to be the father of students. It's not always easy, but if you look at what we have today, being somebody with a resilient mind, it helps. Because you could have calls in the midnight. Last Sunday, I had just been on campus to do my own work. I got home 8:30, and then I was called that 5 students have been arrested by the police. You cannot leave some people's children in the cells overnight, so you have to come. At times, you leave your family and all those things. But all of this borders on question of being prepared. When we started this program, it is a 2-phase program, and our facilitators indicated to us that our students, one of our challenges is the academics. And you cannot do well if you do not plan. You have to plan, you have to strategize, you have to do a lot more work. In lecture room, you have to take notes, you have to be part of a group. If you are part of a learning group, don't be a UN observer where you just observe. You have to try and also facilitate. By doing so, you are able to pick more than just observing. So it's very important that we've gone through this exercise. We also learned that there are a number of challenges we go through being academic. Some have sexuality challenges. Some of the challenges these days we hear of in our office is relationship. These relationships, you are here to learn, but some of them are getting married, and it becomes something which is not pleasant. Aside that, what is becoming key and is worrying is addiction. And one of it is what I asked about, phone addiction. Students are getting addicted to the phone, said that they cannot spare the phone for a second, even whilst eating. Whilst eating, the phone has to be on. And now, drug addiction is taking over. We hear it day in, day out. Whatever they do, they are introduced to the drugs, some knowingly, some unknowingly. So I'll urge you, don't eat by heart. If you are eating, please know what the source is. If you are taking a drink, know what the source is. Last year, somebody took Sobolo and he had to be helped at the hospital. Just Sobolo, because it had all sorts of concoctions. The formula, I'm sure it will take about 2 days for Professor Marian Cancer's lab to decipher. It is not easy, so please watch what you take in. And finally, we've gone through a very pleasant section. I thought we were just coming for a lunch where we cut cake, we cut tapes, and we are gone. But we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot, which is unusual for most luncheon. And I'm most pleased for the way the whole program has been organized. And most importantly for my sons and daughters, they said that the key is not the financial challenge, which means I have some bit of freedom. The problem is not the financial. The problem is the responsibility, not being able to distribute your responsibilities well. Some of you will wait till the revision week before you start looking for the lecture notes. And then it becomes serious. But the indications are that, please, get the materials early, plan how you go through, eat well, sleep well, and then it will be well. In all these situations, if there are challenges and you observe changes in your colleague, please, you have peer counselors, you have counselors, the hospital is there, my office is there, and you can always seek attention. Where it becomes something you cannot handle, or you identify it with your colleague, please, you have the opportunity to refer. If you even do not want the person to know that you are the one giving the information out, we have a way of finding out to make it look like we found out ourselves. So don't let your colleagues suffer in vain. On this note, I think I will thank all of you for making this program a success, especially the Johnson & Johnson team for bringing this out to KNUST, the IPO, the hospital, the counseling center, and all of you that has made this program a successful one, especially my dear students. Thank you so much for being part of this.
Thank you, our resilient father. God bless you so much. I want to make a very big announcement. Please, item 13 is waiting for us outside. Put your hands.
When they come in, exchanges with universities abroad and stuff like that. So we just go through. But every now and then, there are one or two that stand out. And the moment we learned about the objective of this partnership with Johnson & Johnson and the fact that it bordered on the mental health and well-being of our students, remembering that the student population of KNUST as of last academic year was 89,047. Don't forget the 47, 89,047. So that means that this was absolutely an important one, and we are happy to have worked with the University Hospital, the Directorate of Student Affairs, with the Counseling Center, and all partners to make this happen. It is real, it is important, and we want you to take it seriously. I want to end by finding out if there's any international students here. Is there any international students here? Aha. So it cuts across borders. And I'm very happy that we have some of you represented here. So take this with you. Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Our lady here was asking about the definition of health. So by all means, you get the answer here. We are the #1 in the whole world for SDG 4, quality education. Welcome to Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
Thank you so much for that reminder. All right, so we will receive the vote of thanks from our head. But before then, Auntie Linda has a word to say. So the two of you can come together, please. Mrs. Linda Arthur wants to show you where you can get more information about Johnson & Johnson. And then our head will give us the vote of thanks.
It's been an exceptional program. Would you agree with me? Fantastic. So what I want to do, two things. I want to encourage you. I kind of estimated the number of students here, roughly about 400. I want to encourage each one of you to share this information here with a minimum of 5 people. So that'll be 2,000 students that you'll get to, okay? And then I want you also to, if you want to learn more about Johnson & Johnson, please go to the website, www.jnj.com. There's a lot of information about the organization over there. We also have something we call the J&J Credo, which are the guidelines and values by which our company stand by. I just want to also say, to end that, resilient minds make resilient leaders, and you are the future leaders of our country. So let's embrace this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Piazza said I should say, I'm standing on the existing vote of thanks and say, vote of thanks. Thank you. Yes, because Director of Student Affairs started the vote of thanks. So I'm standing on it. First of all, we thank the Almighty God for giving us the opportunity to have this program launched. We are so, so grateful to him, and I'm sure you would accept that. Again, we would also want to say a big thank you to the management of the university. The Vice Chancellor is not here. The Pro-Vice Chancellor is not here. But I know they will follow and they will hear. And so I would say thank you to them and extend a big one to Sister Professor Emily Osuansa, who stood in for the Pro-Vice Chancellor. Let's give it up. Yes. And also to thank the Director of Student Affairs, Prof. Ejari, with the Deputy Directors, Prof. Mariana Santuan Kansa, and then Prof. Enin Echampo Enin. They are all here, our 2 Deputy Directors, for sitting in all through. We thank you so much. We are very grateful. We also want to thank the Dean of IPU, and the Deputy Dean, Prof. Esme. God bless you for being here. Appreciation also goes to the invited guests, Dr. Ruth Owusu-Enchi, Dr. Francis Opon, and also to Dr. Frempong. God bless you for the insights that you've all given us this afternoon. We are so much grateful to the hospital administration. The director is not here. We have the senior pharmacist here, the matron here, the administrator of the hospital here, and I can see Dr. Linda Eduardo also here. Thank you so much, hospital, for being a part of this collaboration. And we want to express a heartfelt appreciation to Reverend Echampong. Reverend Echampong will come here to give the closing prayer, but once I'm here, I need to say a big thank you to Reverend Echampong, who is a university chaplain, Protestant chaplain. He has also been here. Please give a hand to him for us. The SRC leadership, which is represented by the Vice President, Nana Kwabena. Kwabena, give us a wave again. Thank you. And also to all staff. Yes, Yvonne. Yes, Yvonne is here. the background people. And also to Johnson & Johnson. Johnson & Johnson. We are so much grateful to Mr. Santienchi and then Linda. God bless you. And then Leroy. Leroy says that no mention, but yes, Leroy, we've been worrying you and you've made it happen. We thank God. And also to the staff of the counseling center. God bless you. It's been tireless planning this, what to do, what not to do. You've made it happen. God bless you. And to our peer counselors, please stand up. Peer counselors, your caring friend, your caring friends, all peer counselors here. Wow. God bless you. God bless you. You've made it so much lively here and continue to do the good work. Please take your seats. To all who are here present, all of you here, students, if we organized this program and you had not come, this wouldn't have been a success. All of us here wouldn't have come to sit here and then we'll say that we are launching Resilience Minds or we are having the psychoeducation. It wouldn't have happened. But with your presence, things have been so much gone on well. And so we thank you. The media team from e-learning wanted to take this program live, but for the technology issues. I hear that they say somebody is under the sea, breaking some wires and all that. But we know e-learning is going to put everything together and it will be online for us to replay. Yes, we can watch it again. Tell other people, tell your colleagues, whatever information you have here, it will be online for everybody to get again. So thank you so much. On this note, I'll call on the chaplain, Reverend Dr. Echampong, to give us the closing prayer. Thank you.
Thank you. Shall we please rise as we pray? As I sat back and listened, I couldn't help but be reading through the Bible, and I want to quote. Please permit me. I'm reading from 3 John verse 2. Beloved, I pray that all may go well with you, and that you may be in good health, as it goes well with your soul. Hallelujah. And so God is interested in our holistic well-being. And so we shouldn't forget to pray as well. As you contact our doctors, contact our counselors and all, we shouldn't forget to pray. Let us pray. Our Lord and our Master, we give you glory and praise and thanks for your goodness and your mercies towards us. Indeed, it is in you we live, move, and have our being. Without you, we are nothing. We thank you that in your wisdom, you have blessed us with so much knowledge and insight as to how best through us human vessels you can accomplish your purpose and plans for others.
We thank you for this partnership between Johnson & Johnson and KNUST, and we thank you for the launch of it. We thank you for the various speeches and education we have had concerning our holistic well-being, especially with respect to our mental health. We pray and thank you for all the facilitators and the insights they have shared. We pray, oh God, that you grant us the grace to be able to keep whatever we have heard and not just keep them to ourselves, but be vessels in your hands to be able to help others live better lives. You came that we may have life and have it fully. May this be our experience as individuals, even as we share it with others. Let this be our hallmark as a university. And we pray that this which has started, you being the Alpha and Omega, will take it far so that your purpose for its establishment will be accomplished. As we are about dispersing from here, we commend ourselves to you, asking that you cover us with your blood and protect and shield us. May it go well with us, even as it is well with our souls. We praise and bless you for hearing our prayers, for we have asked for this and many more blessings through Christ Jesus our Lord. Amen. Thank you.
Okay, a few announcements. All the counselors should come up stage. We'll take pictures over there. Then